1796, was built by Antoine Thériault, and La Vieille Maison was built in Comeauville, about 50 kilometers northeast of Metegan. And the old house remained in Comeauville until 1958. So this house was built in 1796, and Antoine Thériault and his family lived there, and it kept on. Different members of his family lived there for quite a long time. And in 1958, right before the next person that who bought it and brought it to Metegan did buy it, it was in the process of being almost brought to ruins. So it was right there. It was like the first save that we made of the house was that in 1958 they took the house and they brought it down to Metegan and were able to save the building. So in the picture that you may see right now, it's the original house. It was color. We added color to it, but that is the original house that was also brought back and reconstructed at the place that we have it now. So in the next picture, and you will see that in 1958, Adolphe Robichaud bought the house built by Antoine Thériault, then dismantled it and transported it by truck nearly 15 kilometers to Metegan. Once there, it was reassembled like a giant jigsaw puzzle on the stone foundation of the original 1797 house of Bonaventure Robichaud, one of Adolphe's ancestors, as well as one of the first settlers in the Metegan area. So as you may see, the house was all torn down piece by piece and reattached together piece by piece as it was in Comeauville. It was again placed in Metegan. There is a little part that was not brought from Comeauville. You will not see in this picture, but in further images you will see that there's a little summer kitchen that we call it that is attached to it, and that was brought from Metegan Center to the house where it was now. So it was a big process. Of course, you can see all the men that are loading up the sides of the house, preparing it to be stable. So really to think that that house is the original house with all original features that it really had from the beginning till now. So a bit about Adolphe Robichaud before we go too further into it. So Adolphe Robichaud was born in 1906 and he passed away in 1978. So he was born in Metegan, and Adolphe is a famous ballet dancer in Boston and a member of the LGBTQIA plus community. While his flamboyance might have driven him away in many places, he spent his summers in Clare producing plays and working on his museum, which he curated with his partner Arthur Valancourt. So it's very important to note that Adolphe Robichaud was a ballet dancer, which was extraordinarily rare for a male to be entitled a ballet dancer in that time that he became. I think it was in the, I'd say, mid 1930s, mid 1940s that he started dancing. And so, again, a male dancer in those periods of time is very, very rare. Certainly a ballet dancer. And on top of everything, he was a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, which is even more fascinating and intriguing because we all know that it was very rare or not really accepted in that time. So both Adolphe had a really close touch to a bit of uniqueness, but thanks to him, he was able to bring a house and save it for the first time. Then it was saved a couple other times after, but really this was the first save, and it's all thanks to Adolphe Robichaud, who was this international ballet dancer who resided in Boston, but did come every summer and lived down with, again, to his ancestors' place. So from 1958 to 1978, La Vieille Maison served as a residence museum. So not a museum that they would live in, but as more as a museum of which they would show that that was the house that this is how the Acadians lived. And a repository for the community antique. So many people brought the community antiques there. So many people had antiques in their home that they wish to donate and bring to the Vieille Maison so that they'd be able to expose it, if I can use that word, or show what they had. So Adolphe Robichaud and his companion Arthur Valencourt personally managed the museum, often organizing dances, craft, and song events to respond, especially around the Acadian Festival, le Festival Acadien de Claude in August, but also in fall and at Christmas. So every time around this time of year, Arthur and Adolphe would bring many people around in the little rooms and have fun, and they'd have dancing sessions or singing sessions, including in the fall and at Christmas time. There was always a Christmas levee that would be celebrated on the 24th of December, where he would have all a big gathering of people and after before going to Christmas mass, that was the party central. You could use that word, I guess. So as you see in the first picture up top, these are Adolphe Robichaud's shoes that he used for all his dancing time. It really and that is a picture that we took last year. The shoes are still in the museum, and it really shows there's a big history and story behind those shoes of every side of Adolphe, and explaining to us like the importance that he had again in the dancing community that he raised for himself. In the middle, you will see a bit of what it looked like, what we wish that it will recome to look like, and we are hoping that it's starting to slowly but surely going back into that view. And again, you will see at the last picture the loom that is a very functional loom that we still do have in the Vieille Maison, and that is still in the upper side of the summer kitchen. So that's the small part you see right attached to the house. And we'll try. Okay. So this is right in the top of that section of the house, and word is that it is still very functional, and there's just a couple pieces that have been broken or that are deteriorated with time. But it is in the near future, hopefully, that we will have someone able to reuse it and start looming again on it. So if you guys have any ideas of people that you may know that would like to try and come and work with us on that loom, we would be more than happy to help to have them on board. So following Adolphe's death in 1978, Adolphe died in 1978, and confident that he had created a timeless museum, which he did. So under the terms of the bequest, in order for the community to inherit la Vieille Maison, la Société Historique de la Baie Sainte-Marie took over the museum and continued to operate the museum as a seasonal attraction. So when he passed away, he had asked that la Société Historique de la Baie Sainte-Marie would take over the museum and take care of it. So in 1983, the Society received funding from the Canadian government for the complete restoration of the house, a project that took over 3 months to complete. So during those 3 months, all the shingles were remade. The sidings were the side of the house was all retouched so that it was leak proof, and all the necessary things were made so that it was more stable, so that we could have it stable. So again, we had the first save, that was when Adolphe took the house in 1958. And then our second big save was when in 1983, La Société Historique de la Baie Sainte-Marie was able to make a complete restoration of the house to which it is in state now. So you will see a bit of the pictures. You will see the chair. It is said that that chair is the oldest chair known in Acadian history, and it is still present in La Vieille Maison to this day. Up top, you will see a couple loom projects that were made on the loom that we have upstairs in the summer kitchen. And then you'll see the summer kitchen down top. That's a quick look of our summer kitchen with the stove. So in the 1990s, the building was given a new dual purpose. So the municipality of Clare needed a larger tourism office. Its location at Las des Hirondelles, which is Smuggler's Cove, was small and aging. So La Vieille Maison was chosen to be the ideal location for its new office. Sorry, I'm having issues here. Oops, there we are. So La Vieille Maison was chosen as the ideal location, and a partnership was created with La Société Historique. And throughout the 1990s, the municipality of Clare and La Société Historique employed dozens of young Acadians as guides, dressed as Evangeline and Gabrielle, who recited the scenarios of Adolphe Robichaud's historical visit to the museum guests and answered visitors' questions. So many people on our board still to this day. We have the treasurer of our board was a worker of the museum, as well as her father is the engineer that did engineer and worked to make the last complete renovation in 1983. You will also see that in 1993, it was called a heritage property by the municipality of Clare. It is a great thing. However, I'm not sure if you guys are much aware, but historical heritage properties under a municipal act is not as big as anything. All we must do is ask them permission before we do anything. So we do not receive funding, but it is just as an oversight for them. So at the beginning of the 21st century, the tourist office moved away, leaving the Historical Society a small group of volunteers without primary tenant and without a plan in place. So tourism had suffered from the absence due to the out of control situation. So during these times, I know you guys in Yarmouth can probably relate or know a bit more about what I'm talking about. It was the beautiful time where we had no more ferry that we were crossing and that we were really in a situation of desperate need, and our tourism was really down. So in February of 2002, 2 years before the Congrès Mondial Acadien 2004, revitalizing cultural tourism and citing only volunteer burnout, the group made the heartbreaking decision to withdraw from the museum. So once that happened, it's a bit of a small headache that was caused. So in the last will and testament of Adolphe Robichaud, he said that if the Historical Society was no longer able to take care of the building was to be given out to his heirs, so his brothers and sisters. Lo and behold, 24 years after he passed away, many of his siblings had passed away as well. And so it was to the point where there was roughly 22 to 24 owners of a building that they had no clue where the building was, how the building had a relation to them, or to what was the importance of the building. And many of them, they were all distant cousins that had no even idea that they were related to one to another, and they were all in the States. So it was really a point where for 20 years, no one really had any discussions of what it was. So La Vieille Maison remained a quiet sentinel for more than 20 years. Its blue door, still an icon on the Metegan skyline. It is locked in a posthumous legal conundrum that Adolphe had carefully crafted to protect his creation, his monument. So it's like that. So in 2002, I was 2 years old. In February, actually, I wasn't 2 years old. I was just 1.5. So just to add in prospect that I had never stepped foot into that building or had never had even an idea of what that building meant to people before. I was too young to really realize it. So throughout all my childhood and even throughout my teenage years, I would go by that building and just see the exterior of the building without the Acadian flags as I have in that picture down there. But I would just go by and see an empty house, abandoned house, with nothing really that I could relate to. And so the Museum of Early Settler Life in Nova Scotia has been recognized as one of the oldest and best preserved post-exile structures. For generation, it has been Montague's flagship attraction. Its collection is a masterclass in Acadian history. Hundreds of school children for decades were bused to the museum for day trips. Often, this was their first experience learning about Acadian culture in an experiential way. The museum remains a cherished childhood memory for all generations and a place that evokes deep feelings and contemplation. So many people, I know like the generation right before me was able to see and experience La Vieille Maison as a museum. So really, as I sat down and relooked, and after they asked me to see if I would join the committee to try and come with the Vieille Maison once again, it really came to me that I was the first generation that hadn't had the chance to experience La Vieille Maison and experience the importance and the history behind La Vieille Maison. And after sitting there and thinking over that a couple times, it really came to me that yes, it's my turn to make an impact so that the generations from now on will still have the same importance and the same knowledge about the history that the generations prior to mine were able to have. Of course, I'm not saying that my experience or my knowledge of the Acadians were not important or I didn't learn enough, but I really missed the very big part of having this wonderful Acadian museum right in my backyard that I wasn't able to experience or learn anything from it until it came to my 22nd year alive that I was able to really have a deeper side to it. And so from 2002 to 2022, La Vieille Maison was left to go in rooms until in 2022, a committee was formed to carry out repairs and bring back La Vieille Maison to a museum representing the Acadians and as well as the LGBTQIA plus community, which Adolphe was part of, and as any community that could ever feel that they need to be part of it can be represented in this building. So, as the quote above the fireplace says, it's in French, but I translated. So, as the swallow rebuilds its nest after the storm, thus the Acadian rebuilds its home after exile. So, the Acadians, the Francophone, the LGBTQIA, and other communities will rebuild La Vieille Maison. It may not be in a heartbeat, it may not be with only one bit of work. It's going to be a long process, but together we are a process that we see that we can go towards it. So since our creation in May, our first inaugural meeting was May 5th of 2022. Since then, we've made a all around media all around the world. People have came to know us. You will see here, I just have a couple of points. You see where CBC had us, Radio Canada, had the Halifax Examiner, Le Courrier de la Nouvelle-Écosse. We had news from Port Hawkesbury that were after us. Well, not after us, but with us and celebrating us. We had our MP Chris D'Entremont, as well as you will see that there is on the side, it says S'il y a une étoile. It's a movie that was filmed in last June in La Vieille Maison. Just shortly after we had started our projects, they asked us if they could come and make a movie, a part of the movie, which the movie is about the people, the generation of today living in a queer world and how LGBTQIA plus communities can live together. So it really went well with our museum. Out of nowhere, the Heritage Trust of Nova Scotia was on our side, and they had talked to us about the beautiful National Trust of Canada that was going out with the next great save. So on December 29th, between Christmas and New Year's, which is always a busy time, I was able to have all my board members sit together at a meeting. I was amazed, and I'm still amazed to have that to be able to do that in the middle of this busiest of times of the year. And we were able to prepare for a national campaign for which we were one of the 10 finalists in the National Trust Fund of of Canada, the Next Great Save. And so, one, we were the only one in Nova Scotia, and two, we were the only francophones in the entire country to be in this contest. So it really was an important time for us. We worked day in and day out, and I'm sure you guys, I almost know all of you guys, or I hope all of you guys were able to at least vote once, maybe twice, or heard about the voting once or twice. I know I had 10 email address. I have 10 email addresses that are assigned throughout many different businesses that I work or corporations that I do. And every morning I would wake up with a checklist of 10 emails that I had to go through the 10 emails to make sure that I had voted those 10 times. And then I would call a friend and make sure they had voted. It was a long, long process. 35 days was a long time. And the 36th day, which was over, I woke up that morning and I was kind of bored, not having to check my emails every 2 seconds to see which email that I had done yet. But to finally get there, and at the end that we were announced that we were the second place winners with a $10,000 prize was really, really amazing and overwhelming to a point where we hadn't imagined that within less than a year of a group formed to make this historical building come to life again, that we'd be able to make this big of an impact throughout our nation, not just in Canada, but around the world. We had a couple news articles that were made and sent to us from Louisiana. The Louisiana people were calling us and asking us how they could vote. We had three news articles that came out from France. France was people were voting for us in France. So really around the world, we had people knowing and seeing about La Vieille Maison and what we were doing. So even if we were at the point that even if we didn't win anything at all, the publicity that we were able to make was the biggest thing that we were able to have. Over 55,000 votes. That means we were able to catch a lot of people in our eyes, and a lot of people were able to see us, and it's a great beginning for us. So now that we approach the 2023, so 1 year after we were inaugurated as a board, we decided to come out with the 2023 membership campaign, the Time Capsule campaign. So this year, our membership campaign is a unique time capsule, which you will sign your name and a dedication on one of the shingles of the new roof. So as we know, last year, there was a great support that we were able to cover the roof with a tarp and a Acadian flag. Therefore, we all know that that can't stay like that. We have to do work and to fix it. So with money we have received and with our new campaign that we will be doing, this is to reinstall and remake the face of our shingle. So our timeless time capsule is a unique membership. So yes, that you will be able to sign your name or a dedication on one of the shingles of the new roof. So the shingles will be installed face down, creating time capsule that will be rediscovered by a future generation. So participation in the time capsule is available only to the first 100 members at a cost of $75, and it includes a numbered print of La Vieille Maison. So forward to that, we will start an annual membership without a membership card. So as many organizations have membership cards, we decided that we'd go a bit different and that we would go with a non-membership card project, but the Société Vieille Maison does not have membership cards as other museums. Instead, by purchasing or renewing your annual membership, you will be receiving an 8x10 print of a sketch by Adolphe Robichaud. That is reproduced in a numbered edition by Ed Sprinshot in Little Brook. So each year, a new numbered print will be issued, creating a new form of collectible membership cards. Annual memberships is $50 without a time capsule. So as much as Adolphe was an amazing dancer and a great person to our history, he was also a great artist. So he did many sketch. So we have and we were left with all those sketches, so we will be doing our annual membership with a sketch of Adolphe Robichaud that every year a member will be able to have and renew their membership with a new sketch. So hopefully that, I think we have like 25 or some, so for 25 years you will be able to have a memorabilia, almost well, a real memorabilia of La Vieille Maison. So our time capsule, as you see here, it's just the beginning. So you will have the sketch as well as a dedication that is made onto, or just a simple sign that you will have onto our shingle. These are two pictures that we just had made of shingles. So the one of the first picture right here, you will see five ladies, and this is a four generation of family members that decided to come together and sign. Adrien Comeau, the lady in the middle with the blue sweater, is actually a former student of Adolphe Robichaud when he taught ballet classes, and she followed his footsteps, and further on, she became a dance teacher, in which she's the founder of La Joie, the well-known Acadian dance troupe that we have down here, as well as her daughter Lisa, who is above her, and she also was able to follow a couple of classes with Adolphe. So they were really important, and they were really happy to be able to be the first one of our time capsule. Next, we have another Jean from Chez Jean. If you all went to Chez Jean maybe before in Willie Cove, he's another one that has bought one of our time capsule, and that is going to go further with that. So with that, that's my kind of short presentation. I thank you guys very much.